Among the inmates of Sahranim prison deep in Israel's southern Negev desert are dozens of Eritrean and Sudanese men who have, in the narrowest sense, chosen to be there instead of deportation to a third country known to be either Uganda or Rwanda. MUHTAR HASSAN says the inmates have made the right choice. He accepted a deal to leave Israel for Uganda in 2014, but instead found himself delivered to Sudan, the country he'd fled. Now he's made it to Uganda, where he's studying law, but says direct deportees from Israel have their documents taken at the airport, leaving them unprotected.
No one is willing to fight for these people's rights. But in Israel, there's activists and there's some local organizations.
Israel's government is trying to remove 40,000 Africans, mostly Sudanese and Eritrean, who entered from Egypt before a border fence was completed 4 years ago. The first phase of the detention or deportation policy targets single men, but for now it's been frozen, pending a decision by Israel's Supreme Court on Monday.
The train was running very quickly. We at least stopped that.
Sigal Kokovivi is one of those behind the legal petition against the policy. She doubts the government has a defensible deal with Rwanda to show the court and hopes the freeze will continue.
But I think it's going to be very hard for the Supreme Court now to turn this around and say, without an agreement, without us seeing an agreement, this can go on.
Israel's Prime Minister, though, is determined to press ahead. Last week he said unrestricted African migration would be more dangerous than terrorism. He's long argued that Israel has the right to expel people he calls illegal infiltrators.
Where somebody is granted asylum status, he can be expelled, but not to the country where he cannot be returned, in this case to Eritrea. But if another country is willing to accept him, it's perfectly legal under international law.
It's an argument that holds little weight for Tesfazghi Azgodam, who fled forced service in the Eritrean army but had his asylum claim rejected in Israel. He says neither Rwanda nor Uganda offers the safe haven that should be his right under international law.
Let's say, what do you prefer, death or to stay in a prison? To stay in a prison. I prefer to stay in a prison instead of risk of death. I don't give up also. I don't lose hope. I don't give up hope.
In the short term, such hopes depend on the next decision made by Israel's Supreme Court, but more broadly, they rely on the outcome of what's been a vociferous national debate about whether African refugees now deserve the same kind of sanctuary in Israel as Jews fleeing Europe in the 20th century. A recent poll suggested 2/3 of Jewish Israelis supported the government line. Harry Fawcett, Al Jazeera, West Jerusalem.